Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by. My name is Tonya Renee, and today I want to talk about something a little more serious than my usual hauls for clothes and reviews and things like that. Today I'm going to be talking about infertility and my journey with IVF. Today I have a 1-year-old son who'll be one in about a few weeks, and it was a very hard journey getting there. And some women have no idea where to even start when they think about IVF and infertility, and they don't even know they're infertile, which I didn't know either. So I made some notes on here basically just to tell you guys how I came to where I am now with having a 1-year-old child and going through two second and almost third trimester losses after finally getting pregnant. So one of the first things I want to say is thank you to everyone who's been watching. I noticed I've had maybe like 40 views on my other videos. So I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but for me, it is a lot. And I'm so thankful for all those who are watching, who are tuning in. Hopefully soon you guys will subscribe and start watching more. I have so much more videos to come. But let's just go ahead and get straight into this video and not like draw it out. So obviously me and my hubby wanted a child. We got married and said, hey, let's try having kids. So it didn't come as easy as we thought it would. I've always had crazy cycles and things like that, but I never thought that I'd be infertile, like not be able to have children. So the first thing we did was, hey, let's go to my OBGYN, talk to them, see what they say. So I spoke to my usual gynecologist, and they said, well, how long have you been trying? I kind of made it up and said we've been trying for a long time, but we really wasn't. But we've been together for a long time, and I never got pregnant. So they put me on a drug called Clomid. I will put links in below for all the different drugs that I'm telling you about. So the first drug that I started was Clomid. Basically, Clomid is a drug that helps you ovulate. And they gave it to me. They said, hey, watch your cycle. When you think you're going to ovulate, or you know around the time of ovulation, you take it around on this cycle days, and then you baby dance, have sex, and see if you get pregnant. We tried that for 2 cycles. It didn't work. I was tired of trying it, and the Clomid drugs kind of made me a little bit crazy. I hated it so much. So I decided to go on my own and look for fertility doctors in my local area. I found a fertility doctor that I was very interested in seeing. I called, I made an appointment, and like that. They sent me a packet, I filled it out, and I brought it with me when I got to that doctor. So when I got to that doctor, they asked me a lot of questions. They asked me about obviously my sex life, my husband's sex life, have I had any injuries, things like that, STDs, all that stuff. You talk to them, you tell them what you're trying to do. And the first thing basically he wanted to do was run tests. They ran tests on me, my husband, every test you could think of. STD testing was the first thing they did. They tested my husband's sperm count, mobility, all the different things with sperm. I can even put links of the different tests they test for men. For me, they did a whatever, I forgot what it's called. I will link it somewhere. You know what the people say, they link it. It's going to be there somewhere. So So, and I will put the definition and basically what the test is. The test basically was like a water ultrasound. Oops, something's my eye. And it basically checks to make sure that your uterus is in the right place, in the right shape, right size. It hurts a little bit, but it wasn't too bad. Just a little cramping. Ibuprofen did the job, whatever. And to make sure that your tubes, what the heck is in my eye? Anyway, to make sure my tubes weren't blocked, because that's usually a really big issue. So we did all that. Everything was fine. They checked my egg quality to make sure. At the time I was 29, 30, in that range. So still wasn't really old, but getting older. But they checked the age of my eggs, the health and the quality of my eggs were great. I was in great health. I worked out. I exercised all the time. I ate relatively healthy. I am on a bigger side though, but never had any problems, blood sugar, high blood pressure, nothing. So everything came back great, no problem. So the first step that most doctors are going to make anyone with infertility start with is what's called a IUI. An IUI is basically when they test you to know what cycle day you're on, or they make your cycle come on, and then they see when you're about to ovulate, and right around the time you're about to ovulate, they take your husband's sample, they clean it up, they put the best sperm, and they put it inside of your vaginal cavity, as close it can be to the egg as possible. And then they also tell you to have sex a few days after that. They know exactly when you're ovulating. They test you. They know down to the perfect timing. For a lot of people, that works, and that's really uninvasive. It's easy. It's maybe that, hey, his sperm isn't swimming fast enough. That didn't work for us. We did 2 IUIs. And after that, the next thing was moving on to IVF. That is probably the most invasive treatment ever. And even though I'm so thankful for it, because it gave me obviously 2 daughters and then my son, which my daughters didn't make it, but it worked. So basically, IVF starts off with basically harvesting my eggs. They build my body up. It's a lot of drugs that I take every day. It's about a 2-month process. And once my eggs are fully grown, they go in, they put me to sleep, and they take all my eggs out that are grown and healthy. At that time, I had about 29 eggs. I know that sounds like a whole lot, but most of the time, all those eggs doesn't survive. That's even on a normal woman's cycle. You make a lot of eggs. They don't always all make it to fall when you ovulate. Obviously, that's why women don't get pregnant every single month. Even a normal woman, the odds are very slim of you getting pregnant every month you have sex. But that's a whole nother story. So they harvest my eggs basically, and they watched them grow. They took my husband's sperm, they cleaned it up, they took the best quality of his sperm, the cleanest, the best looking, and we did ICSI. ICSI means that they took the sperm and they injected it into our eggs. Some people do not have to do that. They just put it in like a petri dish, I guess. That's what I think it is. And they go together. For some reason, ours wasn't going together, and I didn't want to take that chance. So they took a needle, I think it's a needle, and they put the sperm inside of all my eggs, and they watched them grow, and they checked for which ones were healthy and which one wasn't healthy, and just watched them grow for 5 days. Basically 5 days past ovulation, which in a normal woman's body, if you were to get pregnant, that 5 days, that would be the egg going down your fallopian tubes, making it to your uterus for implantation. They stop at day 5. Some days are different. For me, it was day 5, and that's when they freeze your eggs, at day 5. Now, if you're doing a fresh cycle, basically, a fresh cycle, they will, just lost my thought. A fresh cycle, they will then get your body ready for the following month to transfer those eggs. We went ahead and did a fresh cycle fresh cycle the first time around, and it did not work. And part of that, I really believe, is my body was so stressed and so tired, and so my uterus was hurting, and from so much pricking and prying and drugs, it just didn't take. And I mean, it was very, very sad. It was really hard to know that we did all of that. IVF is very expensive, and for it not to work, it felt like a total disaster. So so then we did a frozen cycle. Probably the month later, we rolled right into our next cycle. We started the drugs, we started everything. Some people ask, well, what did you do differently to get pregnant the second time? What I did differently was my body was a lot more rested. I did acupuncture weeks before the transfer. The day of transfer, I did acupuncture, and then I stopped. I ate Brazil nuts. I did the pineapple. I did the what is that fruit called? Whatever. It's a fruit that's good with antioxidants. I ate. But anyway, those are just some things you can Google. They have a lot of different things that are really good for helping you to take and do before transfer. Yoga, meditating, and I juiced. I ate a lot of fruits and veggies. I cut back on my sugar, and I exercised.
Like this, juice. Let me get the bottle. I need to keep it a little more. But my glass is full, and I want a full glass. So this one, did I put that here?
And my second time around, it was successful. And you say, well, it was successful, but you didn't give birth. It was successful, but it was a very rough time. I had a subchronic hematoma, which I kept bleeding. I thought I was literally losing my baby. Then I got over that. The baby was fine, no issues. I made it to 24 weeks, and I went into labor. And it was the scariest thing ever. My water broke, and it is what it is. I just didn't know what to do. So we went to the hospital. They told me, yes, it is amniotic fluid. Your water did break, and it's very unlikely that your child is going to make it. I was like, what? I basically a week shy of 24 weeks. So I thought if I make it to 24 weeks, it'd be great. We didn't make it. I went into full-blown labor the next morning, and my daughter was basically stillborn. And we got to hang out with her. We got to stay with her in a room for the day. It was very sad, very emotional. And I just was like, you know what? I'm done. I can't do this again. And I just was an emotional wreck. I couldn't believe that through all of this, I get pregnant and then my water break. So now you're probably saying, well, what did you do after that? So we cremated my daughter. I waited till my body healed because I went into full-blown labor. I had to push. So it was the craziest thing ever to push and know that you wasn't getting to take your baby. I was not allowed to take my baby home. They sent her to the morgue. We cremated her. And I took 2 months off from work. My body rest. I had to heal like any person who given birth. And I'm a big believer in the Lord. So I don't know if any of you guys believe in the Lord like I do, but I just prayed. I had a very huge support system, my husband, my mother, my church, and things like that. And they prayed with me, and I got through it, and I decided I was going to try again. So obviously you say, wouldn't you want to know why, what happened? So being young, being naive, I didn't know. I listened to my doctors. They're my doctors, right? So they told me that it was a fluke, and sometimes things like that happen and it's unexplained. I didn't have any infection. There was no reason for my water to break. So I said, okay, I'm gonna try this again. So we went ahead and, the reason why we're able to keep doing this now is that the eggs that we froze are frozen. So I have to go through that whole process again. I have approximately 10 eggs still frozen. So that's how I was able to quickly do it within a 2-month span, basically, and boom. So we go back to the doctor, did my checkup. She said it's fine for you to try again. Went back to my fertility doctor and we said, let's do this. So we go ahead and we transfer 2 more eggs. 1 took, and around 23 weeks, I was having a lot of pain. 21 weeks, I went to the doctor. I was out of state to get checked to make sure that my cervix was not open. And the doctor, who didn't physically felt, she basically was like, you're fine, you're good to go. And I was getting on a flight the next day, so I wanted to make sure I was safe to go on a flight. So I believed him, went back to my mom's house. The next day, I'm getting ready to go to the airport, and I go to the bathroom and I go to wipe and I feel something, and I'm like, what the heck is that? I thought it was the baby's head, but it was her bag. The amniotic bag was in my vaginal canal, and I was flipping out. I was screaming. My husband was in another state. I was by myself. I was so scared. I called the ambulance, got there, and they were like, yes, you are funneling. So then I thought, maybe I was funneling the first time and pressure in that's what broke my water. I don't know. But all I know is, like, how could this be happening again? They said it was a fluke. I was so angry. I was so sad. We went to the hospital. My baby was still alive, still heart beating. They were still trying to keep her in there. We went to the hospital. I was in the hospital for 5 days fighting to keep her in there. But she started to slip. She started to slip out in her legs. She was coming legs first. And my temperature started getting high. And they believed I was starting to get an infection. And they were like, she has to come out. So my second daughter was born at like, I don't even know how much she weighed, not even a pound. She was still moving a little bit, and she was still inside her amniotic sac. I gave birth to the whole thing. And it was this, I couldn't believe it. And reality is, I'm a woman of faith, and I really, really want to just be like, Lord, I don't understand. I don't understand how you can keep saying you want someone to have faith and allow something like that to happen more than once, especially when you try so hard and you're doing everything that you're supposed to do and that you want me to do. I mean, I knew I wasn't perfect. I am far from perfect, and I've sinned so much and done so many things. But I just looked, and what was the hard part about it is you have all these people around you having kids left and right who don't even want them. I'm like, they don't even want their kids. Like, okay, I'm back. Got a little kind of emotional. This is a very emotional thing for me to even get on here and talk about. But I know there are other people out there that's probably going through the same thing, and I don't want you to have to go through what I went through. But yes, I was very frustrated. I was very angry with the Lord, and I didn't even want to go to church anymore because I just felt like, why am I doing this? Like, everyone just say, keep praying about it, and then you have all your friends around you, boom, like that, pregnant, and they're like, oh, they're upset. They don't want the kid. You know, I have there are people around me that can't take care of the kids and dislike the kids and just wish they didn't have any. And I'm here just like, just give me a healthy baby. But I have to go through so much to get pregnant, and then you won't let me stay pregnant. Like, I just didn't get it. And I was just like, is this payback for something I've done bad in the past? I don't know. What I did do was, instead of me turning my faith from the Lord, I got more deep into the Lord. I started sowing into the life of children. I started, you know, wanting to be a part of other children's lives. And I made sure that I didn't let envy take over me, because sometimes being envious of other people, you lose sight of what you really want in life. You lose sight. You just get what West Indian people call red eye, where you get so envious and so red, you don't see anything else, and you just see hatred for other people who have things that you want. And I've never been that kind of girl to be envious of that kind of magnitude, but it was so hurtful, you know. And then what was hurtful was coming back to church, coming back to work without a baby, and people who didn't know asking you about your baby or how is your baby, and it was such a hard thing. But what I do know is I had such a good support system. Like my coworkers, I work with all men, and they made me feel so I'm a mess. My coworkers were amazing. They were so loving. They were so caring. And my friends, my family, all those people kept me uplifted, you know. And that's what made me keep going. And just, I didn't put, at one point I was like, I'm done. I'm not going to do this again, because I can't take myself through it. I can't take my husband through it. Even though he doesn't show as much emotion, watching him every time it happened, it was a hard thing, you know. It was something we both had to deal with, because he wanted another child just as much as I wanted one. And my husband has a child. He has a beautiful daughter who's a grown woman. And it's not like, oh, he just wants another child. It's just that this was something we both had our heart set on for us, you know. So, and I mean, sometimes people think, okay, well, maybe it was a little harder for me because I don't have any children at all. But it was just as hard as him, because it's his blood and it was his child. And to see his baby there and not, you know, in flesh and not moving and not breathing and lifeless, that was really hard. And it was really hard on me, which made it hard on him, because he loves me and he cares about me. So of course, and my family member, my sister, even my older sister, when they thought that I probably couldn't carry my own baby, she volunteered to her womb to carry our baby. And I mean, that's a lot. Because after carrying my son, I think, wow, that is a very selfless act. Okay, so my mom's stealing Brazil nuts out of my room. But anyway, like I was saying, even my own sister decided to, and I mean, it was a really nice gesture, but I wanted to carry my own baby. So the first thing I had to do was get diligent and start doing my research on what was wrong with me and what was going on with me. Getting pregnant wasn't an issue. We found that problem out. We fixed that. Now, staying pregnant was basically our goal. So I started doing research, and I came across what was called an incompetent cervix. And I started to think, oh my gosh, these symptoms sounds like me. So I did more research, and I found a Facebook group. I also have a Instagram page just for my IVF, and I started talking to people about it. And they started telling me about all the different stories that they had. Not only that is, I found that it ran in my family, that I wasn't the only one that had an incompetent cervix. So I joined a group called Abbyloopers. I will link that below, because that group right there basically saved my life. Without that group, I wouldn't have found my doctor, Dr. Arthur Haney in Chicago, who basically placed a transabdominal cerclage on the inside of my cervix, not the outside, the traditional TVCs that they put through, they sew through your cervix. as a preventative measure when you're already losing a baby. This is put way before I'm even pregnant, and it stays in there for the rest of my life, and it can hold up to 75 to 100 pounds. And when I say it was the most amazing thing ever, it was a godsend gift. So the process of the TAC, which I know any woman who's dealing with incompetent cervix, and if you don't know what a TAC is, you need to join Abbyloopers. I will put a link in the bio below. Join the group, talk to the ladies, choose your doctor wisely. Dr. Arthur Haney basically taught almost all the doctors that do it now, and there's a few other doctors that also are great doctors. But he placed it. He does not do robotic. He basically, himself, I have a small incision like a C-section scar. He went in and he hand tied mine to perfection, and it carried my son to 35 weeks. So he did come early, but he's a healthy baby boy, as you're going to see in some clips later, or if you watch my Disney trip and things like that. So, most people want to know, you know, how did you get this TAC? I had United Healthcare and they covered it fully. I had to pay only $1,000 out of pocket. And for some people that's a lot, but to have my son, that $1,000 was nothing. I did have the expense of flying to Chicago and staying in a hotel, because in the area that I live in, New England area, there was not a doctor that was highly recommended and did as many as Dr. Haney did. Another great thing that I loved about Dr. Haney is he takes patients that do not have health insurance. And with that being said, he charges $7,000 for people to pay out their pocket. If you go to any other doctor in the United States, most of them want to charge you $15,000 to $20,000 out of pocket if you don't have insurance. Because again, it's a major surgery. They put you under, they cut you open like a C-section, they tie you up and they close it back, and it takes you a few days to heal from it. So again, it's major surgery, but it's worth it. A little bit more information about a TAC, which is called a transabdominal cerclage. It's very weird because even my doctor never seen one, my OBGYN. So my whole pregnancy was kind of weird. They checked my cervix length, and every time they looked at it, they were just amazed by seeing it. And they took my information, they took my doctor's information, so they can use that for other patients that might have the same issue that I had. And it was just the greatest thing ever to be able to share that information with another soon-to-be mother and maybe help them save their child. Now with the TAC, you can have it pre-pregnancy or post-pregnancy, meaning that at, I forgot what weeks it is, 12 or 14 weeks, you can have it placed. I was a little scared of that, so I put it in before I went through IVF again. And again, as we know, it worked, it held out. It was really rough. I didn't trust it at all. I was going crazy my whole pregnancy, but trust it, it worked. So for anyone out there who is planning on getting a transabdominal cerclage because they have at least 1 or 2 losses, I say go for it. Don't even take the chance with the TVC or whatever it's called, the one they put in once you're losing your baby, because there's still a chance that you can lose your child. I mean, they work sometimes, but I can't take that chance ever again. The pain of losing a child in that magnitude and that far along was really, really, really hard. I don't think I ever want to do that ever again. So, what other things I could tell you about the TAC? Most insurance cover it. The reason why most insurance cover it is because a TVC cerclage that goes on the outside when they sew through your cervix, it doesn't stop you from funneling at all. I will try to find a picture and link it to show you the difference between the two. And if you have a baby in the NICU, it costs millions of dollars compared to the 20 that the insurance company is going to pay for you to have a healthy baby. And numerous healthy babies than numerous NICU stays. So that's the logic in that. I've seen where many insurance companies have declined to allow someone to have it, which is horrible. But that's basically my TAC story. Now for IVF, a few little things like I like to add in there is do your research, because many states, and you can hear my dogs, but I'm just gonna keep rolling. But anyway, many states cover IVF or some part of your IVF for 2 to 3 cycles. They cover fertility treatment. So find out if you're in a state that covers IVF, because it helps. The state, I'm in New England area, and my state covers majority of it. I had to pay a lot out of pocket, maybe a few $1,000s, but my insurance worked. My husband has TRICARE. TRICARE, if you're military, I don't know, because I don't really use his insurance. I use my own personal insurance, and it works great. Even state insurance might cover it if you're in the right state. If you're not in the right state, you might have to save. You can take out loans. It all depends on how important this is to you. But I believe 10 to 15 states, or maybe more now, covers IVF, that companies have to cover some type of infertility treatment, even if it's just a procedure and not the medication. Now, medications is really expensive. I had one that wasn't covered, and it was like $900 a vial, and it cost us a lot of money, but I knew I needed it, and I had to sacrifice things and work extra overtime and find the money to get that $900 vial every single month that I needed, because I knew it was going to keep my baby intact and where he needed to be. So now that we're all done, my son's 1, we are planning IVF 2, and we're in the midst of it right now. So I plan on basically taking you through that journey with me. The journey basically started with me going back to my IVF doctor, talking to him when my son was about 7 months old, telling him I wanted to do it. He said I can even do it then, but I wanted to wait till he was 1 and I'm done breastfeeding. And right now I have started my Lupron shots, which again, you'll see throughout the whole video, the videos that I'm going to make, what I need to do to get here. My medication was already ordered from my doctor. They have a little plan out for me on what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. I've already had a water ultrasound to make sure that I don't have any polyps, because that used to be an issue for me. Every transfer I've always had polyps and had to have surgery to remove them before IVF. This time, by the grace of God, no polyps, and we're ready to go straight into the cycle. So my cycle usually starts with 28 days of birth control, which I have 2 more days of birth control to take. And then near the end of that 28 days, I start taking Lupron shots, about 10 units per night. On top of that, I take metformin because I have polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, and that messes with my blood sugar levels. And then I also take a thyroid medication. I take a vitamin D medication because I have low vitamin D, and I take Synthroid because I have a thyroid problem. Yes, I know it sounds like a whole lot, but baby, when you start doing IVF, there's way more. That's just the beginning. Slowly, I will be adding in progesterone and oil, which that is a shot that you take in your buttocks. I will definitely be video recording my shot regimen and my pill regimen. I'll probably have to do blood work and ultrasounds. Blood work every 2 to 3 days. Ultrasounds probably once a week. And once my cycle comes back again, after I finish these birth control pills, I will be giving my transfer day to transfer our baby. We do not know if our babies are boys or girls. We didn't do that. We just did genetic testing to make sure that he or she is healthy. And that's really about it for now. I can't really think of much to really say else about my IVF journey, my LAWS journey, my TAC journey. I will link as much as I can in the link below. I will also add at the end of this video me getting my first Lupron shot. I did it by myself because my husband was working late. And then as more updates happen, I will come to you. If you have any questions about IVF, infertility, transabdominal cerclage, pregnancy with a transabdominal cerclage, incompetent cervix, go ahead and put something in the message. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'm going back to work tomorrow. I spent a little time with my baby. So I took a little break and I was able to make a few videos before I go back to work. So basically that's it. This video is just for self-help. That's really about it. I want to help someone else not have to go through what I went through, and let you know way ahead of the time that there's a chance, and then let you know too, the older you get, that it's not over. And then for those who are I don't want to say religious, because I'm not religious, I just love the Lord, that love God and trust in the Lord in everything that you do, that anything that you want is possible. You definitely have to pray. You definitely have to talk to your God, or whoever you consider your God. Me, I believe in Jesus Christ, and I know that he's real, because when I say my son is so perfect, I know everyone says that, but he gave me exactly what I needed it when I needed it, and he's everything I could ever dream of, and I'm completely content and happy. I really wish that my girls can be here, but they're not. And, you know, that's it. You know, I definitely have more of a backstory, but I'm just going to start with my husband that I'm with now, because I have a lot that I could talk about before I met him. But, I'm an emotional person, so I try to not get too emotional. So, and I definitely, if any of my family and friends are watching, which at some point you guys are probably going to see this, I just want to thank everyone, because without my church family, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters, my best friend, L-Star, like, where would I be, man? Like, especially without that one up there, God, I wouldn't have made it. Like, I was about to give up. Like, I was like in a really bad place, and I'm so happy. You know, my church mentors, my pastor, Pastor Candy, one lady that I look up to so much at church, Jewel, just like came to me and grabbed me and just showered me with love and prayed for me and prayed for my family. You know, Ken and Keisha, these people in my life, like, it's like my whole surround system, you know what I'm trying to say. My whole entire family, my church family, my real family, they loved me, they loved on me. Get you a real strong support system. Don't get someone around you that's gonna talk about you having a test tube baby. You don't want those people in your life. You want someone who's going to support you, who's going to be there with you, okay? Make sure you got a good man in your life that's going to support you and that wants to do this, because this process is not easy, and doing it alone is not a good option. Your emotion and the roller coaster that you're going to go on through this whole entire journey is going to be crazy, and you need someone that you can count on and that can help you when your hormones are up here and then down here, when you're teary-eyed, when your butt hurts from all the shots, when you're nauseous, when you're not even pregnant because you're taking medications that make you seem like you're pregnant, like progesterone and what, estrogen and all that stuff. It makes you sick to your stomach. You can't eat. You're gaining weight. You're bloated. These are things that you're going to deal with. So get your good support system. Get your really good group. I started an IG page, and I met so many ladies who became my friend, and I watched many of them had beautiful babies after IVF, IUI, Clomids, all those different things, or surrogates. I know a lot of girls who are surrogates now because of it. So I want you guys to stay tuned, watch my journey. Go ahead and like this video. Go ahead and subscribe so you know when I'm posting a video, especially about IVF, okay? So go ahead. I post other stuff on my page too, but right now IVF is what I'm going through. You know, being a mom of a 1-year-old, going through IVF. So go ahead, subscribe. I don't know what you guys waiting for. Subscribe and like this video, and I will see you guys later.